Hello and welcome back. We are doing more jazz theory. Jazz theory. Today we are working on what do we need in a chord? What is necessary? What is essential in a chord? What is essential? So we've seen a lot of different chords in this series so far. We've seen, triads, of course, but we've gone 7th chords and 9th chords and 11th chords and 13th chords. Oh my. And we've seen so many variations where you can maybe sharp your 5, you can maybe flat your 7, you can maybe sharp your 9 or flat your 9, you can sharp or flat your 11th, you can sharp or flat your 13th. And you don't have to do any of these. You can keep them all natural as well. I don't know what I'm doing. A huge natural sign on all those. And they're all different variations. So how do you differentiate which one is which, and how do you know which ones you need to keep? Which chord tones do you need? Because most of the time, imagine if you're playing piano or guitar or you're singing with a couple people, and you need to represent this chord with the same sound, but you don't have this many people. You don't have 7 people. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you don't have 7. You don't have 7 people, right? You don't have 7 fingers. You don't have all these. Well, you don't have the ability to play this many notes, and you don't really want to, because playing all the notes is kind of a muddy sound, right? So you want to see what you need. If you had this huge chord, what could you erase? Now I'm going to start over here with the same chord we got there, with a wonderful 13th, I believe. What, C major 13, right? So C major, we'll keep us honest, C major 13. Okay, so what's the most important part? Arguably, and it depends on who you are, but generally you can get away with certain faux pas, right? Number one, you don't need the 5th. Why don't you need the 5th? Because most chords you're going to play are going to have the 5th. If you have the root, you're going to have the 5th. There's 2 reasons. This is the first one. You're going to have if you have the root, you already know what your 5th is. Because if you have C major or C7 or you have C minor 7, anything but C minor 7 flat 5, all of these 3 are going to have the normal 5, right? This is the only one with the flat 5. So most of the time you're going to be fine. You say, well, yeah, okay, but how do you know it's not this one? Well, here's the reason. If I have C major, right? C, D, let's just go on a normal major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And I want to write my 5th on each one. The 5th is there, the 5th is there, the 5th is there, the 5th is there, right? All of these 5ths occur naturally, except this one. This is the one that's weird, on 7. Okay, but having your 7th is kind of strange. And also, if you're 7th scale degree anyway, people are going to be, okay, that's the weird one. It's the diminished chord. So people are already going to know, at least on a subconscious level, that your 5th is already implied. Not to mention, we are being bombarded daily with rock music that has the root and the chord. The power chords, right? I'm sorry, did I say the root and the chord? The root and the 5th. Power chords. So we kind of already understand if you have a root, you got a 5th. Your 5th is already included. So you don't need to put the 5th. The other reason number 2, why you can ditch the 5th, is because of the Overtone Series. The Overtone Series shows that if you put a root, if you have R for root, your next note in succession, this is where you do, where you have the octave, right? You have the octave first, but then it cuts it in thirds. What am I doing? There you go. There's your Overtone Series thing, and now you're in thirds, okay? So the thirds, this is where it starts getting into the 5th, right? It's the first note you're going to hear other than another root. So you can hear the sound kind of already within the note itself. You don't really need to represent it here, okay? So you can get rid of the 5th. The 5th is your first thing to say goodbye to. Your next one to say goodbye to is anything that's under your highest note. I'm sorry, I lied. You need your 7th, right? The 7th is so important. The 7th is so important. You need to put that. The next thing you can ditch is your 9th if you have a 13th, if you have an 11th, and your 11th if you have a 13th. Okay, so then you're kind of left to the bare bones. You only got C, E, in this case, you got C, E, B, and an A on top, or right there. So your huge chords that sound like this now kind of just sounds like this. You kind of get the same feel. It's a little bit thinner, but you got the same feel. You got all the pieces you need there. It kind of works out. It's kind of fine. It's legal. It's good enough. You can still call this, okay, well, this is C major 13. That's fine. It kind of looks like a C7. Well, we haven't really talked about this yet, but it kind of looks like a C7 add 6. You could argue, but the fact that you have the 7th in there shows, hey, we're getting into, this is kind of your gatekeeper. That's going to say, hey, we're unlocking higher dimensions. We're going to go higher in the chords. So that's why the 7th is so important. Also, this 3 to 7 relationship is so important because your 3rd here is a normal 3. It goes back to this stuff. You got a normal 3. Let me go ahead and write these in another color here just to keep us sane. We got blue. That'll work. You got 3. This 3 is also a normal 3. This 3 is a flat 3. Okay? And then this one, whatever. This is a flat 3 as well. Okay, now, here, this is the black shape. But here, anyway, so here you have a normal 7. Here you have this is getting cut off. Let me scroll up a smidge. There we go. This is a normal 7. This is a flat 7. This is a flat 7 as well. So you can see, just based on this alone, you can say, hey, I know what chord this is. And in fact, this is another reason, we talked about this before, why we don't call this C half diminished 7. But rather C minor 7 flat 5 is because jazz theorists look at these these are equivalent. They're both minor 7 chords because of the 3 and the 7 right there, right? So just based on this relationship, these two notes, they can tell you what kind of chord you have. Cool, right? So that's kind of it. The other thing, if you really wanted to get thinner than this, you could technically, and you're gonna think I'm Mr. Bizarro on this, you can kind of ditch the root. You don't, I'm saying this right now, you don't need your root. This kind of tells you everything based on your chord quality. And the other reason you can ditch your root is your bass player is probably playing it anyway. So you just got a low bass down there. Let's go low. There we go. You got the low bass, and then on top you got your E, A, and B. And then there's your chord, right? So you could technically, if you really want to go super thin, you got these 3 notes left. And that is kind of all you want to do. You don't want to go any thinner than this. If you go thinner than this, then it gets really kind of opaque. You're kind of guessing what you need to make the sound work. So that's kind of the overall thing of this video is what can you ditch. The rule is if you have a root, a 3rd, a 5th, a 7th, a 9th, 11th, and a 13th. Oh my god. Just write this here, I guess. 13th. There we go. You guys can see that? Cool. Plan as you go, guys. You need the 3rd for sure. You need the 7th for sure. Whatever one you need up here depends on what your highest one is. So one of those. And then maybe your root in the bass. That's it. You don't need your 5th. Did I miss one? No, that's it. So you need this, one of these, and maybe your root if you need that represented somewhere. Usually in your left hand if you're playing piano by yourself, or your bass player, well, your bass guitarist, or your upright bass, or whatever you're playing, tuba, whoever's responsible for your bass line, they're gonna probably hit that note and maybe do like 1/5s on it or something like that. So that'd be like their notes there. Bum bum. There we go. So they might do something like that just to keep your... Right? They might just do something like that, a little groovy thing like that. But they're just doing, if you're wondering where I went bottom, ba-da-dum, it's to F, and then C again. And again, all this is doing is the 1 and the 5, which is kind of the bass anyway. The higher sonorities are kind of responsible for this stuff. This is beautiful in the higher ranges. This is beautiful in the lower ranges. Right? So keep your bass low, keep your beautiful stuff crazy high. I was also, this is kind of a tangent, but I was looking at Bossa Nova a while back. Did I not put dots here? Okay. I was looking at Bossa Nova a while back, and the cool thing about Bossa Nova is your chords or whatever, kind of normal, but the notes on top that you're singing is all this stuff. You're singing all the 9th, 11th, and 13ths. So by itself, your melody sounds really weird, because it's not even in the normal key that you're in. Right? But you put it with the chords, and the chords, you're adding like seasoning to the chords that are already there. It's kind of cool. that you can make your whole melody live in this sonority stuff and focus on the 9ths, the 11ths, and 13ths of your chords and ignore so much bread and butter, meat and potato stuff from the chords. Because like when you're learning chords, right, you always learn about 1 3 5 do mi so, and maybe then you get into 7ths and you're like, wow, crazy. But then you get into 9th, 11th, and 13th when it comes to jazz, and you learn this is like the beautiful stuff, and you can. When you get into the 9ths, 11ths, and 13ths, you're not just doing 9s, 11s, and 13ths. Of course, you can also do your sharps and flats here, so you can really change those chord qualities and make them shimmer in really beautiful ways, beyond just the normal. Oh, we have a minor triad, we have a minor 7th, which is the boring stuff. So you can make this work and get all these chords and these beautiful sonorities with limited instruments, really. Because you can imagine, I even saw like, maybe we'll look at this sometime, but I was looking at an arrangement of Autumn Leaves. Autumn, I can spell. Oh my god. Oh my god, guys. Okay. I was looking at an arrangement of Autumn Leaves, and it was for 3 singers. So only 3 notes per chord. And to get the information, Autumn Leaves, if you know, or if you don't know, is a jazz standard, and there's a lot of altered chords in there. But to make it work with just 3 voices, where you don't have, if you want something this complicated, you might have to ditch one of these essential notes, maybe the root, maybe not. And to make that work and still make sense, even in such a thin texture, is beautifully cool. You don't always need the big bands to make jazz work, right? You can, I just realized the other thing's cut off if you're wondering what I was doing with that. You don't always need the big jazz bands to make music work, to make jazz work. You can do it with just a couple people, with maybe, like I said, just 3 singers, maybe even less than that. If like, can you make a two voice jazz? I'll put that here, 2 voice jazz. And if you can, try it. And that's beautiful. If you can make such thin texture but communicate so efficiently that you're getting those chords, those complicated chords, to shine through, that would be awesome. And so I will leave you there with this. When you're making these chords, try it out. And this also will go into voice leading. We might look at that later. We'll probably look at that next time. Look at voice leading, where you got your 3 notes that you have. So maybe a C, E, and a G, or a C, E, A, and B. And then you want to go to, I don't know, an F. We'll go to a 4 chord. So we'll do like F major 7 or F major 9. Let's do that. So we got F, that would be F, A, C, E, and G, right? But then we're going to kill the 5. Okay, so you got F, A, E, and G. That'll work. F, A, E, and G. So you got F, A, E. E can go there, and G. Maybe this will drop down to G here. That doesn't make sense here. Like that. And it sounds like this. Nope, we're in the wrong octave. Sounds like this. Okay, so your whole thing right now, what I've written so far, if you keep everything with it where I just put it. What am I looking at? There. Right? So you could make it work like that. And so you're thinking, okay, well, this one is going there, this one's going there. The E is staying E. Maybe you do cross voicing, or you keep your C having the bass. So this would drop down all the way to F, which is fine. Your bass can drop this low. Get rid of the F here. Your E stays the same. So now it sounds more, maybe this will be a little bit more beautiful. So you got, I need both hands for this. There to, no, that's wrong. There we go. To there. Okay, so you can get these beautiful things anyway. And it sounds kind of cool. Just with your voice leading. And even if it's a thin texture, you can still get these beautiful shining chords to come on through. Okay, so as your homework this week, if you want homework, is to try this out and make a chord progression, add some flair with the 9s, the 11s, and 13s, and then kill out some of the notes, cut out some of the notes, and make it work, make it sound okay. And if something doesn't sound right, tweak it until it does. Share what you find out in the comments below. Link music if you can make it. That'd be cool. Let's grow this community up a little bit, and I will see you guys next time. Like and subscribe if this was useful, and have a great week. See you.